Good to see, good to be. It's Dilly D here hanging out for another Vibe Union podcast episode. This is episode 40. Unbelievable that we made it so far. A lot of podcasts don't make it past 5 or 10, and we're aiming for 50. We're on the tail end of it. Today we are joined by Hui, a wonderful singer-songwriter out of Melbourne. How you going there, my dude? Thanks for joining us today.
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm sweet. You know, the sun is doing what it has to do, and I think the rest of us are doing the same as well. No, it's been good today. Before we completely get into it? What is a Vibe Union podcast? A great way to get these kind of things started is to get grounded. By getting grounded, we can acknowledge the sacred ground that we're standing on. So we're standing on the grounds of the combination of the Boonwurrung and the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. They were the traditional custodians, not owners of this land. So I'd like to pay respects to elders past, present, and emerging, acknowledge that our sovereignty was never ceded, and let's keep that conversation open. How do we feel about that, Hui?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Golden, great. That would be pretty awkward if you didn't. That would be pretty awkward.
Of course I'm down for that.
Sweet. So welcome to a Vibe Union podcast. So your name is Hui, and that's your artist name as well. Is there any different inflection? My
artist name is Huey.
That's what I thought.
It's
okay, so little Dewey on the end. Yeah, H-U-I.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, H-U-I with a full stop. And I don't know. Sing Bohemian. And then I looked it up, and it had enough like different meanings for it to be sort of ambiguous for me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
that's cool. We'll jump into that into a second. Just a few little bits of housekeeping for Vibe Union. So as you guys know, this is a Vibe Union podcast, and that's how we came onto Hui here, because we've got him on for our Dusty Sessions event, which is on the 5th of February. So Saturday, 5th of February, and that's at Bar 303. So Hui will be joined alongside Raphael Love.
Very different.
Very different. Rachel Love is somebody who I think about a lot. Raphael Love is somebody who I will be thinking about a lot. And Jag as well. So eyes on that. One last thing before we get into finding out all about yourself is Vibe Union has a tip jar going. Obviously, it's an open hand kind of thing. And I just want to give a big shout out to Damien Moretti, who dropped $50 towards the Vibe Union cause just this week. So, you know, he's not setting the standard for anyone, but he's just doing the good things. So that's just a big shout out for Damien. There'll be a tip jar on the top of the channel description or the video description, and you can also find that stuff on our website as well, along with all our other stuff. Hui, Vibe Check, and then let's talk origin of the artist name. So how we vibe and how we feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I'm recovering from COVID at the moment, so my voice is a little fried. Yeah. And I had a recording session yesterday where I was like recording a new song, and I picked a song that was chill to record. Okay. And then I found like towards the end of the track, I was hitting all these deep notes, which I've never sung before. And it's purely the sickness, but
wow.
You know, maybe I'll find a way to relax and be able to put it into a live context. But it was pretty cool to be able to do that. So that's been fun.
Cool. So
I feel good.
You feel good. What was the studio session on? What new shit are you working on at the moment?
Yeah, so I put out an EP in November, and I think I just want to keep on rolling out releases, but maybe less like block group of songs, more just like drip feed one song after another. So like, if I could put out a song once every 1 or 2 months, like this year, that would just be perfect.
Cool.
So and maybe I could like group them and call it like just a slowly unfolding album, but
right.
I think just I sort of learnt from just the way like algorithms and everything work. Like right now it's more suitable for me as someone who isn't like signed and is not got a massive following by any means. It's probably more suitable for me to like drip feed than do blocks of music, you know. Yeah. So yeah,
consistency
that's
is
kind of
key.
what
Consistency is key for the lesser creators and lesser just in terms of volume of traffic, right?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, you really got to drip the algorithm. You just got to continue to feed it that way. Otherwise, it doesn't know. It doesn't want to know.
Yeah.
So Huey, what's the you were saying there's a couple different meanings that you kind of felt were aligned with what you wanted as an artist name. So yeah, talk us more about Huey and what's that about.
In terms of the meanings, it's not that they're necessarily aligned, but I just thought it looked like aesthetically pleasing and something that I thought looked good. And then I was like, well, I should probably look it up in case it's like breaching territories that I shouldn't go into. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then
are we talking misappropriation or just like not the right subject matter? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
No. Yeah. Well, either and or. But
yeah.
the not the right subject matter has turned out to be really sort of funny because I had a song come out with So Far Sounds, just a live session, and I'm seeing all these comments in Russian underneath it, and they're like, I'm like, what's going on here? And so I start putting in Google Translate, and they're all sort of like laughing about my name, and one of them just says "fucking name," and I'm like, oh my god, what have I done? And so I've called myself Dick in Russian.
Nailed it.
It's kind of great. Yeah, exactly right. So like, if I ever tour Russia, I'm gonna have so much fun. You know,
yeah. Although, I mean, depending on what the marketing and branding is around that, you could have a real problem doing your shows there too.
Yeah. I'm hoping they become like a lot more sort of liberal with their thinking in the next few years. Yeah.
God, I mean, it feels like they've been kind of, cemented in a particular spot for a bit. I mean, I'm not too in touch with what's happening on the floor in Russia, but it seems like it's a bit of a slower step to progress over there, perhaps.
Yeah. And then there were a few other like nicer meetings as well. Like there was one meeting that was like it was just like a gathering of people, which I thought was like, that's good for music. And and also there was I think like one meant like mother. So and I think that might have been like Vietnamese. So
cool. Do you feel like you have either maternal instincts or a warm embrace?
Well, you know what? It's funny you should say that. I'm not that these instincts are innately maternal, but I've been doing a lot more sort of, I guess, social and care work. I started doing a master's of counselling. And
great.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I feel like I've had to
channel some of that.
Channel some empathy,
Do you feel like you were lacking in empathy before, or is it feeling pretty natural to tap into it?
I think I've gotten so much better at expressing empathy. And when you consistently practice taking the time to express empathy, whether it's for yourself or for other people, you just get better at it. It's just like practicing an instrument. It's just you just get better at doing it, because I suppose I've always grown up struggling to like express myself in like such a talking to people. I struggle to express myself. So that's why I kind of.
Is that a nervous, anxious thing, or is that just like an unknown territory type thing?
I mean, I think it's more just to do with like how you're raised,
Sure.
And so how you learn to express yourself or learn not to, and that's why you channel it into music. But yeah, I've sort of been practicing doing the opposite, and I find that it's helping with music, because now I feel like I just have more of a deeper understanding of how I want to communicate, and now I can do that musically. You know what I mean?
Right. So in terms of kind of transforming that into kind of maybe reading the audience and writing for the audience more, is that kind of what you're talking about?
I mean, I think more just like communicating how I think.
So just pure expression, just being able to articulate.
Just pure expression. Yeah.
Okay.
It's 100% that. Yeah. I struggle to string sentences together sometimes, and I feel like I'm just getting better at doing that. So,
well, empathy does have a great hand to deal in that, because I mean, it's certainly easier to have a conversation with somebody if you're trying to, put yourself in their boots, trying to think from their perspective, and then being hyper aware in terms of listening and tuning into that moment. A lot of that really does help.
Yeah. I'm finding that it's made me a better listener as well. To do with music. I mean, obviously in conversation as well, but it's just made me a much better listener with music in terms of lyrics and anything really. Yeah.
Are there any recent examples of your music that you feel like you really tapped into that and could be a good example for like when people are listening to your stuff, they'd be like, they might be able to be a bit more aware of that in some way?
Sure. I mean, on my EP, definitely. The one I put out in
your most recent
November.
self-titled?
Yeah. There's sort of all mental health based songs, I would say. Particularly there's a song called Cut Ties, Leave Notes. And I was it's a song about suicidal ideation. It's quite upbeat. It's a very upbeat song, but it's kind of got a darker theme underlying it. And I've certainly had that in the past at a certain point in my life. And I think I wrote that song needing to express it because I sort of had this moment where I was driving where I just thought, I could just end this right here. And I had this sort of kind of looping for a while, and I was actually able to put it into a song and put it behind me, which is like great, because you don't want to.
Yeah. Well, not everybody has the capacity to kind of package that moment and like reflect on it and put it away, kind of store it away, Sometimes it just eats at people, right?
Yeah. And it's like the poppiest song I've probably released, and like the most like upbeat and so like it's interesting. Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's switch it up to talking about live performance and what that kind of looks like these days, and the upcoming Dusty session with Vibe Union. You, in the past few months, have you had a bit of a return to the stage and stuff? Where are you at when it comes to performing live? Are you rusty? What's going on in your head?
I'm certainly rusty. I did a gig at the Workers Club in December.
Yeah, and cool.
It was just like I think the songs went pretty well. But I just, at the end of the gig, I was so tired vocally. Like I hadn't just sung for a block of and it was an hour set, and I just hadn't sung like a full hour for like ages. And it was
right.
And the funniest bit when I was talking in between songs, because I just thought, oh my God, I hadn't talked to like an audience in that kind of way for such a long time. And I just didn't know what to say. And, I would sort of just trail off and then start a song without really introducing it, or just like, and not in a way that seemed artistic. It just seemed like, it's kind of
okay. So it wasn't some way cool and disheveled, it was
no.
Okay. It wasn't like, I'm so deep in my own world, so I'm just going to trail off and play dope music. Okay,
okay, yeah, cool. Start.
Jeez, got to work on that banter game, man.
Yeah. No, I'm usually pretty good at it. So it was just it'd been so long, and I was just happy to be out, to be honest.
Right.
Then I've had a few sort of like corporate sets here and there, and then that's been fine. But it's nice to be doing artistry gigs again because they're just nice, And, yeah.
How did it look like for you over lockdown, not being able to do that? Did you go, because you've been dropping stuff on Spotify since 2018 or so. So Did you feel like you had a bit of momentum coming up to this period and then you kind of thrown off course in a big way, or how'd that?
I mean, in a way, it gave me time to release songs that I've been sitting on, because I put out 5 singles in 2020, which is considering we had the massive lockdown, it's actually, I feel pretty good about that.
You should be proud.
I think thanks, man. But yeah, I think 2021 was when I actually like slowed down with everything. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think I more lost momentum like through the year because I just got so depressed and then I took much more of a time to focus on self-care because I was kind of focusing on that through the degree I'm doing.
Right.
And so that's why putting out that EP in November was just so great, because we recorded it really quickly. And so now I feel like I've got that momentum back again. And now I just, you know what I mean? Yeah. I just want to drop.
Cool. So you're saying that you had a good period of just being able to kind of get into that backlog of stuff that you had, and then also being able to pair that with some self work,
Yeah.
which enabled.
And when Centrelink's, when Centrelink's paying for the releases, it's like, it makes it a lot easier.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, it's not often the government supports artists in such a way, but yeah, that was quite the way that it worked out for us.
I'll sit on the phone for 2 hours if it means I can do all that again,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is hours well spent. Absolutely. So, okay, I'd like to know a bit more about you kind of, towards the tail end of high school. What were you thinking about doing? What were your interests and motivations? And were you already leading strongly towards music then, or how did it come about?
It was definitely always just like music. And I was like, in year 12, I was skipping classes and just going to the music house and just wagging. And
cool.
I was I just knew that that's what I wanted to do. But I just didn't have the resources to connect me to the scene, which is why uni was so great, because you just meet people. And because and also I'm so glad that I went to uni and got my ass kicked, because I really needed that, because I think you in high school and you might be you top music student in high school, but you're in a very small pond, and you find that out when you get to uni. And everyone is absolutely ridiculous. I was probably one of the worst musicians in my first year of university, I would say. Truly.
In terms of just technical ability and theory kind of thing? Yeah,
I think theory I was always up there, but just my technical ability was so bad. And I had this moment when I was just sitting in the foyer, and I was just like, man, I'm really bad at music. It's it's I had my skills, but I just didn't know how to channel them. You know what I mean? And then I got the right teacher, because I was always a good writer, but I just wasn't a very good singer. And then I ended up doing this vocal specific degree. So I did 2 years of the jazz degree at Monash.
Right.
And that's when I truly got my ass kicked. And then I did 2 years in this vocal specific degree. And that's when I just learned how to be a singer and how to care for your voice. And that was just, it was phenomenal. And my teacher was a guy called Rod Davies, who's worked for a songwriter for Universal Music.
Oh, wow.
And he's written songs for loads of artists in Europe. And he does backing vocals for Tina Arena and John Farnham.
Jesus.
And he's he's an amazing singer. And he was my teacher for 2 years pretty much. And he just sorted me out, and awesome, really. Yeah.
That's great. So so you spent 4 years at uni?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a 3-year degree.
3-year degree. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, some of us take a little longer than others, and it's not always because of, capabilities or capacity, right? It's about sometimes just putting the head down, right? Making it happen.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give to kids out there kind of coming out of school who may not want to take the university route? What other pathways do they have when it comes to becoming a performing musician?
I think there are so many networking opportunities, and if you're not going to go the uni route, you still have so many places that you can go and network with people, because there's communities who want to make music as much as you do. So if you just show that you're keen and show that you're a go-getter, you're likely going to pull people in. And if you work your skills up to a point, and you'll get that opportunity, and then you have to kill the opportunity, which you will if you're prepared. And then that's the way the best way I can network. I started going to these networking breakfasts by I think Music Victoria, and they were probably on once a week in 2019, and I would just go every week, get a free breakfast, and just talk to musicians and managers, and just people who work in sync licensing, and just stuff like that. because like, yeah, I've had a lot of opportunities come up from them, like in terms of gigs and recording opportunities as well. Because I do a bit of commercial songwriting for like adverts.
Oh, great.
And yeah, and stuff like that as well. And like that's all come through meeting a sync licensing manager and then working with them and a producer. And yeah, that's all through just going to Music Victoria networking events and you know, this and Vibe Union. I'm sure there's a whole ton of people like that, you know, with Vibe Union.
No, you're certainly tapping on a huge topic there, which is like, you know, why would Vibe Union even come together in the first place? And it's going to be a similar story for many other music collectives, and that is, you know, a whole lot of people with shared or overlapping interests understand that, you know, through networking and sometimes collaboration, the path to you know, getting yourself in front of an audience doing something that you enjoy is a little bit easier, right?
Yeah, because you need a team. You need, in some respects, like I'm a solo artist, but I have a producer that I go to make my music, and I have people that I call to come and play it with and for me. You know what I mean? Because like, yeah, I couldn't do that all by myself. I'd love to be able to be the Tame Impala producer, singer, all instruments, but I'm just not, and I'm fine with that. So I'm happy to outsource. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's what happens when you go out to the world and you see what other people are doing and what's kind of available. You can understand, you can kind of see this picture emerging for yourself, and what other pieces of that picture you kind of need. And sometimes that's going to surprise you, because you might not even think that, oh, this person actually fits in this way, and I didn't think that this would be able to be a part of whatever it is, whether that's a producer who has a particular flavor or direction that you didn't think but seems to work with yourself, or whether that's somebody who is like a photographer who you're very comfortable with. You go out and shoot some cool snaps, and then you look like a boss, and then you look super legit. And you know, people are enticed into what Hui actually has to offer.
Yeah, and like, because all my songs that I've released are recorded by one guy, produced by one guy. Do you know Reno? Right. You might have heard of Reno de Roosman. His artist name's just Reno, but he's an incredible I'll link you. He's an incredible electronica producer, and considering what I make, it shows you how good of a collaborator he is, because I'm making this really guitar-driven sort of indie rock music, and he's makes full-on dance electronica music, and he produces it. It sounds like a live band, and yeah, you know, it's really he's really incredible, and like we've always worked together, so it's just fantastic to have a team, you know. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, this is a good point to maybe talk a bit more about, like, maybe what your music looks and sounds like. It does seem, you know, quite maybe guitar and maybe folk driven, but it does have this full band, but also modern feel to it as well. So if you had to quickly describe the kind of music you're trying to make, maybe a couple of influences in there, that'd be great.
Sure. Yeah. My favorite bands are probably, I love the Paper Kites, and I love the Strokes.
Yeah.
And I know I don't sound like them in any way yet, but I love Radiohead.
Cool.
I think Radiohead are the greatest band of all time. And
I feel that, and I think that even if your mindset or mentality is Radiohead adjacent, it leaves a lot of room to move and a lot of creativity there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like if you just think about all the stages of their like sound, I think the songs by Radiohead I'm most attracted to would be, I guess like smaller ensemble, like in terms of like instrumentation, and just like that melancholic kind of soft rock feel. That's kind of what I really love about Radiohead, like especially with their latest album. They have a few songs there's one called Present Tense, and it's based on a samba feel, like a Latin American samba feel, but it's still like an indie rock song. And I just like, I don't know, man, just like it's like taking a traditional rule and then putting it in an entirely new context, whilst also sounding like what they've been producing their whole time as a band. And I just think that's the coolest shit ever.
Right. It's like paying an ode to an inspiration and themselves at the same time.
Yeah. But yeah, I if I'll probably never sound as good as Radiohead, but that's fine.
Who knows? Who knows, man? I mean, if you're committed to the cause, and who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, right.
So how would you describe, if I had to give you 2 or 3 lines to describe your music, if you had to write a quick bio for yourself for Spotify or some shit, what would it be?
Sure. I'd say guitar driven, indie rock singer-songwriter from Melbourne who likes a beer and just wants to hang out and make tunes with friends.
I love that. Just tagging on to that, obviously once described as good enough by a close friend. Do you still feel like you're good enough, or is there more room to move with that?
I mean, there's always room to improve, but I'm doing my best. I've had a big year of self-care practice, and it's continuing and getting better. So, you know what? I am good enough. God damn it.
That's beautiful. That's all I wanted to hear. You did it. You made the right call. I'm glad we're taking the lighter side of
awesome.
The direction.
Yeah.
How do you like to spend your free time, including hobbies and interests? What do you like to do to escape your normal music pursuits?
Yeah, I mean, I really like reading. Got mad into reading in the last 2 years.
Okay.
I was always a big reader. But then when you just have a year off to do it, it's fantastic. Yeah. So I knew June was coming out of the movie, so I was I should read the book. And so I read the first 3 books in the series. So I'm way ahead of the movies because they only made half of the first one.
Okay.
So yeah, and they're fun books to read. And I've also been reading this self-help book called Everyone You Hate Is Going to Die. And it's so good and it's so funny. And it's really helping me with any past anger I've had. I'm just I don't feel that anymore. And also I'm reading some sort of detective novels, and
okay,
I like a bit of crime, and they're fun. Yeah.
How did the Dune movie stack up against the first book?
I think they nailed the tone.
Yeah.
And it felt like anything they didn't include from the book it didn't annoy me that it wasn't in there. I was just okay, it makes sense that they've moved it further, and because it would just, it already went for 2 hours and 40 minutes or something. You don't want to, I don't want to sit in a cinema for 3 hours, so that was fine. They pulled it,
they stretched it as long as they could, but yeah, that's cool. I'm glad that you said that it matches the tone. I'm pretty keen on actually reading the books now that you mentioned them. I'm looking for some fresh sci-fi to tap into.
Yeah, because I always loved Blade Runner and stuff like that, and I just feel there's not enough of that dystopian sci-fi fantasy that is
there is some stuff
majorly popular.
Right. It gets dressed up a little bit too much for my liking often. It sometimes it's better for it to be kind of cold and dry, and that's kind of a statement within itself,
Yeah, sure.
So this year, we're just the start of a new year. What are your kind of hopes and direction for this year? What are you looking to achieve, and what's that going to look like on the ground level for you?
You mean musically?
Yeah, musically. You could talk. You could talk about yourself as well, but maybe lead with music.
Yeah, sure. I think as I said before, just making sure I'm putting out those songs at the rate that I want to be putting them out. And I'd love to get a sync deal with getting a song into a TV show. That would be a goal or something like that. Yeah,
What's the process behind that? Is it just writing, knowing the right person, or what is it?
There are labels that are specific to sync licensing. So you just have to sort of look them up, and there are so many because there's a lot of TV, and there's a lot of visual platforms that need audio. So I'd love to get music into something cool, because I've written songs for I've done a fucking Kmart ad, and I've done I've done a Google ad as well. But cool. I'd love to get something cool. I'd love to get something cool, the dream would be like some Netflix drama,
Right.
Stranger Things season, 7 or whatever.
Or maybe the new live action take of Cowboy Bebop or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. So I'd love like to just land something in that, because I just feel like it'd be just be cool to see. But then it's like, do I also want to write songs with TV in mind? Maybe not. So maybe the right thing just has to come along, and hopefully I hit it on the head. But that would be a musical direction, certainly. Yeah.
Cool. So the consistent EP drops, and then trying to get some music lined up with some TV programming.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
Cool. Oh God, what's the best idea that you've had this week so far?
Ooh, that was a left turn. During the recording session, I said, let's get lunch. And we went to this sandwich bar, and I would never normally eat turkey in any other month than December, but I had a turkey sandwich, and it was so good.
Damn, here we go. Who would have thought that turkey would have pulled through in January?
Yeah, right. Surely they're all really dry now. Right. It was fantastic, and it had like pickled onion, and the bread was just really well oiled. It was just fantastic. Yeah.
Are we talking a whole meal or a sourdough? What are we talking?
I think it was sourdough. I didn't have a say in the bread. But
you didn't have a say in the bread. Doesn't sound like a good sandwich bar to me. Oh, you called up.
Yeah. So they just made it. Yeah.
Awesome. Pure, I think you've really just been 100 on the answers to the few questions I've shot you through. This has been a really nice kind of snapshot, little profile and a moment with you. I just love to thank you for coming on board for the Vibe Union podcast. Actually, just quickly, who reached out to you for the Dusty sessions, getting on the Dusty sessions?
Well, I would initially.
Because you've been on a live stream a while ago, right? Yeah.
But I found out about Vibe Union through Kelsey Jean, the fantastic singer-songwriter. Yes. We worked together at Axel Coffee Roasters.
She did.
And so. Yeah, she did work there. But we just great mates, and now we're trying to do gigs together and write songs together, and
great.
So that's
awesome. Well, I'm so glad that through Kelsey we've got you kind of on board with whatever it is. Thanks for doing the live stream back last year. Was it last year? Was it mid?
Yeah, it was last year. Yeah.
And looking forward to the Dusty sessions on the 5th of February, Saturday at Bar 303 in High Street.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, until then, take it easy, keep doing you, and we look forward to chatting more in the future.
Thank you so much, mate.
Awesome. Any last thing you want to plug aside from your Spotify? Anything else that people can look out for?
If you want to look me up on Spotify, you can go HUI with a full stop. And know that it means dick in Russian, and then listen to my sweet, sad tunes. And if you want to look me up on Instagram, it's HUI _music. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
And catch me on the 5th of Feb.
We'll catch you on the 5th of Feb. 5th of Feb. 5th of Feb. Catch you on the 5th of Feb. Thanks, dude, again. Appreciate it. Catch you later.
Awesome, mate.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.